So for me, there's truly one foot in a lot of worlds, me in a lot of styles too. And that's always the way that I have been. And I don't recommend people do. You have to be you, and like you have your thing and you whatever you adapt or evolve into that's successful for you, in addition to what you're doing now, is going to have threads of your personality and what you've done so far, just like what he's doing. And I think we can learn from each other, but you can't be somebody you're not. So for me, from a young age, I always was very curious and I love learning. Those are the two things. My discipline is probably not as good as his and not as good as yours. Discipline's okay, but I'm impulsive and I'm undisciplined a lot, but I'm very curious. I love to learn from other people and I'm tenacious in terms of my passion, my desire to do it, and just nonstop kind of full immersion. And that's sort of my, I guess, my edge in a way, but it's just the way I am about everything that I'm interested in. So when I say one foot in a lot of worlds, it's like I came into this business with guys who had just left the floor who were trying to learn at the screen. Now, I came in at the beginning of the screen. Excuse me, not the beginning of the screen, but like, when it was fairly new. And I went through that era. I learned news and events and how fundamentals react and watching replays of moves and studying the order books, all this shit. And then, I have one of those colds that I'm over, but the air hits my throat. It's brutal. I'm functioning fine, but anyways, carrying on with the story. So then the crypto stuff came along, and a lot of my peers were like, they want nothing to do with it. And I was all over it. I was learning, and I was like dusting off my old tool book of like, Litecoin is not going up with Bitcoin, and all of a sudden Bitcoin falls and Litecoin is consolidating at the highs. So I buy the Litecoin and the divergence, and it goes up 100% in 2 months. And I was just doing shit like that left and right, like old school stuff that hadn't worked in a while, and that stopped working. So I quit doing it. And then I went on to other things in crypto, and excuse me. And then the old day trading stuff I was doing is less effective, but still effective, kind of like yours is, in pockets, like the Fed days and stuff, but not all the time. And that's, to this day, it's like that. It's gotten much worse, much harder, but then also really good on certain days, especially with options during the day. So this whole idea of like I always was fascinated with stocks too. So now I put a ton of time into being a retail trader, trading stocks basically, and learning how those move and developing this basket thing that I look at. And like, I'm making this sentiment like neglect type scanner that I'm looking at. I'm playing with that now. I'm building fundamental scanners to integrate all of it together and just make it a little stronger. So there's like these moments in 2022 and 2016 when I know that stocks are really beat up and there's a ton of neglect, and I want to be able to look at like the whole picture, fundamentally, sentiment, technicals, and put on stuff that I can hold for a little longer. So there's that. So there's like this guy who day trades news and events, this guy who did crypto, probably holding for days to weeks, and then this guy who's holding sometimes for a few months. And then I'm also managing my money, giving it to a few people, mostly one guy that I really like. And I'm fascinated with like, he's in these trends and he's holding it for a few years. And I'm just like, I love it. I love reading about it. I love learning about it, but it's not really what I did to make my money. So I love the new guys and what they're doing because they don't have a fucking clue about what we've been through, but they're doing stuff that we're ignorant about because we don't have that cavalier attitude. So sometimes I can learn from those people, but do I take it into my process or not? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm a pretty big risk seeker, but I'm also very conservative in my lifestyle. Like, my house paid for in cash. I've always bought my houses in cash. I don't have any debt, none. Anything I buy, I can easily afford many times over again, or else I don't do it. So I manage my lifestyle. But in my trading account, I take a lot more swings, and I manage. I can be more aggressive because I've taken care of my lifestyle. So it's a little bit of a different way to do it, but it's worked well for me. And so I'm kind of like one foot in all these worlds, one foot in the old, one foot in the new, half professional. I have 10, 12 years at a prop firm. And then I'm learning retail stuff now, like stock trading, and I'm willing to look at anything. I was involved in crypto a lot. And now I'm kind of a mixture of all of it. And it's weird because there's a lot of threads that tie together the same kind of thinking. Like I liked the gold breakout like 6 months ago or whatever because of the public neglect and no one was talking about it. And I thought it was going to stick because of that, and it did. And I did some crypto breakout on the election, which is a little different. I just felt like the chart was really good, and I kind of analyzed like, okay, if Harris wins, it might go down. But the fact that so many House and Senate people flip to pro crypto, that it's kind of like a no looking back moment for this chart pattern. So I took a gamble on that, and it worked, and I added to it when the actual results happened, and I got out of half of it now. So that's a different kind of trade. So I love trades like that. But I struggle with I don't really know. It's okay. I don't have like a blueprint like he does. He waits for this is what he does. This is his thing. Mine is like, man, I'm learning and adapting, and I don't know. Like now, I'm heavily using the AI to try to program and kind of fine tune things. There's no back tested holy grail or anything like that, but there's like, what if I can find more positions where I think people are stuck or they're neglecting things? Excuse me. Like even this price action basket thing I made a lot of good trades in that this year, and I never had used that before this year. Like I got into like LUNR Space Discovery Company because the basket was doing awesome and it was the strongest stock, and I bought it like at a good area. And I did those China EV makers. I got stopped out of one. I'm still in the other one. We'll see if it works out. Excuse me, Jesus. And that's the thing. I'm sometimes I don't have a home in terms of one simple strategy. I used to just be day trading S&P 500 futures, but I've evolved past that now. So I don't really know what the future holds, and it's weird because like if it's a crazy year and the world falls apart, I might have a great year in futures and just be sticking to that. And that's futures options. And there's some home runs to be had where I can like dial in on like 20, 30 really big days for the year. Or if it's a grinding bull market, it's total dog shit in futures. There's nothing to do. And I'm trying to use these baskets to find these strong sectors and get in at good times in the key stocks. In the meantime, build this fundamental stuff. But then if it's 2022 and everyone hates the market and they're scared to death, maybe I'm picking up these like bombed out Twilio and PayPal and 50% Amazon off the highs. And I'm able to like get in this stuff and put, and then ride the equity basket up for 6 months. Like that's something I could theoretically do too. Totally different. And it's like, I don't even know how to communicate that to somebody, but it's all there. It's discernment of like when to use what. And I think there's a common thread between the thinking and all of it, but yeah, so I'm just like trying to hone in on all those different strategies and processes and pick like and understand when is the time to use them. Like the futures, I don't do any work on that anymore. Like I could literally roll in the middle of the day. I don't read any Fed previews. I just roll in and sit down, and that's the best thing for me to do. And I watch the bonds. I feel like everyone's going to get fucked on something, and then when it happens, I just know what to do because I've traded so many of them. And I don't always make money, but with the options, I can know what I'm going to lose, and that's great for me. I can trade way, way harder now. And so, but the other stuff, there's a lot more active learning and development because it's newer for me. So I don't know. Like, I'm just telling you this because sometimes I can't even, like, I don't even know how to explain this to people.